For more than 100 years, two of the biggest brands on the planet have been locked in an epic rivalry. And trust me, this is about way more than just soda. This is a full-blown war for our taste buds, our loyalty, and our wallets, fought with clever ads, huge celebrities, and some serious marketing muscle. This is the story of the Cola Wars. All right, so here's how we're going to break down this incredible story. We'll start at the very beginning, with their surprisingly similar origins. Then we'll get to the single moment of rejection that lit the fuse. After that, we dive into the taste tests that started the war, relive some of the most legendary ad battles ever made, and finally, we'll see where this never-ending fight stands today. So let's rewind the clock, way back, because you might be surprised to find out that these two giants didn't start in some corporate boardroom. Nope. They both started in the exact same place, the neighborhood pharmacy. I mean, it's kind of wild how similar their stories are, right? Both Coca-Cola and Pepsi were invented by pharmacists, basically as health drinks. Coke was meant to help with digestion, and Pepsi, well, that was created to be a healthy drink that didn't have any alcohol in it. So you've got two different ideas, but both born from this world of medicinal tonics. Now, while the name Coca-Cola has been around forever, Pepsi wasn't always Pepsi. It was originally called Brad's Drink, named right after its inventor. Yeah, I think we can all agree that changing the name was probably a very, very good idea. Okay, so if they both had such similar beginnings, what was it that turned this whole thing into an all-out war? It all comes down to one single moment, one crucial decision, a corporate no that would literally change advertising history forever. Let's jump forward in time. By the 1980s, Coca-Cola was, without a doubt, the king of the cola world. Pepsi was doing okay, but they were running into some serious financial problems. Things like the price of sugar were going through the roof, and it was really hurting them. They were in a pretty tough spot. So, in what you could call a move of pure desperation, Pepsi's leadership went to their biggest rival, Coca-Cola, and made them an absolutely unbelievable offer. Buy us. Just like that. They were ready to sell the whole thing, the brand, the secret formula, everything. Just think about that for a second. We came this close to living in a world with only one major cola. But Coca-Cola said no. They just flat out refused the offer. And you know what? That rejection didn't crush Pepsi. It did the exact opposite. It lit a fire under them. That simple no became their ultimate motivation. It was the moment they decided to stop trying to just survive and to start a war instead. And boy, did they come out swinging. Pepsi unleashed this brilliant, super aggressive new strategy. They figured, okay, if we can't win in the boardroom, we'll take the fight to the people. And they decided to attack the one thing Coca-Cola thought was untouchable, its taste. The entire strategy boiled down to this one simple but incredibly powerful question. Pepsi was convinced they knew the answer, and they were about to launch one of the most famous marketing campaigns of all time just to prove it. They called it the Pepsi Challenge. You've probably heard of it. They set up tables in malls, on street corners, everywhere, and just asked people to do a blind taste test. And the results? They were a nightmare for Coca-Cola. A clear majority of people actually chose Pepsi. Now, of course, the rumors started flying. People whispered that the Coke samples were maybe a little warm or that they weren't as fizzy, to skew the results. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. Pepsi had planted a huge seed of doubt. With all this new momentum, Pepsi decided it was time to go for the kill. They put their money where their mouth was and signed the single biggest entertainer on the face of the earth, Michael Jackson. And they signed him for a record-shattering $4 million endorsement deal. And this is what really shows you their new, ruthless mindset. It wasn't just that they signed a superstar. They literally stole him from their rival. See, Jackson had just walked away from a $1 million deal with Coke. So Pepsi comes in, quadruples the offer, and just like that, the king of pop was now the face of the new generation. What a power move. So with Pepsi now seriously cutting into Coke's market share, the fight moved from the streets to our TV screens. This kicked off an incredible era of some of the most direct, clever, and honestly hilarious attack ads that people still study in marketing classes today. Okay, so in one of the classics, you've got a Coke driver and a Pepsi driver, and they're kind of bonding over some music. The Pepsi guy offers his rival a can. The Coke driver tries it and likes it so much he absolutely refuses to give it back. It literally starts a fist fight. The message was so clear, once you try Pepsi, there's no going back. And the attacks just kept coming. In another great one, you have the action hero Jackie Chan, who's famous for doing all his own stunts, right? Well, he's about to film a really dangerous scene, and he needs a stunt double for his can of Pepsi. And what do they use as the stand-in? A can of Coca-Cola. It was such a brilliant way of saying Coke is just the cheap disposable knockoff. They even went after Coke's iconic history. There's this one ad set in the museum way in the future with a professor and his students. They're looking at all these ancient artifacts, and they recognize everything, until he picks up this dusty, old, fossilized bottle of Coca-Cola. One of the students asks what it is, and the professor just says, "I have no idea." So savage. Basically saying Coke would be completely forgotten. But out of all the jabs, this might be the most legendary back and forth of all time. So for Halloween, Pepsi runs an ad. It shows a Pepsi can wearing a red Coca-Cola cape, and the slogan says, "We wish you a scary Halloween." Pretty clever, right? But Coke's response, oh, it was pure genius. They took the exact same image, posted it themselves, and just changed the slogan to, "Everybody wants to be a hero." They took Pepsi's insult and turned it into the ultimate compliment. Just an all-time great marketing comeback. So, after all of that, after all the battles, the taste tests, the billions of dollars spent, where are we today? Well, the all-out war has kind of cooled down. Now it's more like a permanent, high-stakes stalemate. There's actually a great way to think about it. It's like two cars driving really fast on the highway. They're both going at pretty much the same speed, and there's this constant distance between them. Even if one is a little ahead, the other one is moving just as fast, so it's almost impossible to really pull away. And that's what we call a market stalemate. Look, Pepsi's aggressive strategy worked. They fought their way up, they carved out a huge piece of the pie for themselves, and they proved they were a true global competitor. But actually dethroning the original king? That has turned out to be a nearly impossible mission. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. For all these years, these two giants have thrown everything they have at each other, creating this incredible corporate drama for the whole world to watch. So in a war that seems to have no clear winner, you have to wonder, maybe the real winners aren't either of the companies. Maybe it's all of us who've had a front row seat to the greatest show in advertising history.